Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Voices of Western, the Humans of Western podcast. If you're new, welcome. This is a podcast where we dive deeper into the personal lives of students, staff, and faculty at Western University. Now, before we begin, we wanted to thank you all for taking out some time of your day to listen to our episode. My name's Ria, and today I'm joined by my fellow co host, Millen.
Thank you, Ria. So today we'll be speaking with someone who you might be seeing a lot around campus a lot these past few months. And if you're going to Western next year, you'll be hearing a lot from him as well. It's none other than Sunday Ajak, the University Student Council, or USC, newly elected president for 2023 to 2024 school year. On today's episode, we'll be learning a lot about Sunday's journey, his plans for the upcoming year, and give everyone a chance to know better what the USC president is all about. So, to start things off, how are you doing today, Sunday?
I am doing absolutely great. I'm happy to be here. I'm really excited to speak to you both. And yeah, I'm just ready to talk.
No, that's amazing. And yeah, thank
Mhm.
you again for just coming on today's episode. So I think we can get started right up with the question. So could you just tell us a bit about your journey and what inspired you to run to be our USC president for next year?
Wonderful. I'd love to tell you about this. So my plan to run for USC president actually started in first year. I had this dream. So I came from high school, I came from student council president as well. And then when I came to university, I figured I'd want to give it a shot at this level and see how far I can go with it. And then honestly, even coming into first year, one of the biggest things I noticed was seeing the USC as an overarching body in the the student population, and trying to see myself inside of the USC was a very difficult task. I didn't see individuals that looked like me, that spoke the same way I spoke, like came from the same kind of perspective that I was coming from. And I found that was kind of discouraging within the USC. And then I honestly set about a path trying to make sure that the feelings I were feeling in the first year, someone else wouldn't feel. So, say for example, the first year student coming next year would be able to see themselves in the USC, see individuals that relate to them on a certain level through their experiences or difficulties, the things that they go through on a daily basis. And I wanted to be an individual to inspire the leader within them, because for me myself, it was kind of hard to see myself in the USC, but now 5 years later, here I am. So yeah.
No, that's amazing. Just hearing how you want to make a change in the USC president, make people feel included and having that inclusive environment. And I think that is very important for anyone who's wanting to choose Western for next year too. Just seeing someone where as a face and feeling accepted and part of that community. I think that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree and echo that same feeling. I was just thinking about this recently too. Like here we're talking about the USC and having representation, and I think that really applies to a lot of stuff, even with profs. I was just thinking to myself, I was like, okay, I'm in STEM. A lot of my profs don't really look like me. They don't really have the same cultural experiences as I do. So sometimes that can be a bit I guess disheartening in a way, thinking that, okay, maybe this isn't a career path for myself. But if you have somebody in the USC who has similar lived experiences as you do, it's so powerful because then you feel like there's someone there who can actually reflect on what you're feeling, what you're thinking of, and someone who's there to advocate for you. So I think it's really wonderful that you chose this journey right from your first year head on, it's just really powerful to hear that.
Thank you. Thank you guys. And it's exactly what you said, Ria. It goes so much further than just having a lived experience. Like I really want to form a community here at Western, but a deeper sense of it too, because the aspect that we have going on is, yes, we are one Western community, but so many students, depending where they come from, feel ostracized within their faculties, within their cultural spaces, within affiliate students, for example. Like everyone just feels ostracized in their own certain group. And I really want to shatter all those social divisions and just make us one Western community and have us all become Western students as a whole. It's a whole overarching thing, but it's one of my big reasons. So I'm glad to be here.
Speaking of community, and just overall the values that you were talking about, could you give us a bit more of an overview of your platform's foundations, pillars, goals, things like that?
Yeah, of course. So my platform is a deep representation of my values and my vision of the USC. So the entire platform works on filling the gaps, per se, is what I call within student life, and some of the things that haven't been addressed. So some of the populations that we want to focus on are the ones that have typically gone unseen by the USC. I love using that word. So the way it looks is like we want to highlight Indigenous culture by having an Indigenous Student Night of Recognition. We want to highlight affordability by enhancing student run businesses, having a student business appreciation day. For example, we want to really highlight affiliate students in terms of council representation. So by having an HPK roundtable, so council executives that are from affiliate students have that chance to then give their voice on a deeper perspective outside of the actual USC meetings. For example, one of the biggest things we want to do is we want to address eating disorders. Really biggest one I want to address, especially within our mental health services. So it's actually not supported whatsoever within our mental health services. So one of the biggest things I want to do is I want to bring an amazing individual. Her name is Chloe Grande. She's done a lot of work at Brescia, training the softs over there in terms of eating disorder sensitivity training. So I really want to increase her training above all student leaders here on campus and make sure that we're addressing this issue as a whole and a holistic approach. Another thing I also want to do, I'm just going really in depth into my platform here. I'm just gonna like branch out some of the biggest things I want to do as well. So I want to push for advocacy in terms of diversifying our mental health counselors. So individuals who come from cultural spaces are able to have counselors who do have that shared experience, are able to then relate to them on a certain level and then support them on that basis. I also want to increase the transparency of the USC as a whole, and I want to make sure that students actually know what the USC does. They're able to relate to the USC executives. They're able to have a relationship with the USC and kind of humanize the organization, because a lot of students feel as if the USC is kind of just like built on individuals who are like above everyone else. But at the end of the day, we're all just students. I'm still a student myself. I'm graduating soon, but I really just want to create the USC and like humanize our organization so individuals are able to then find themselves and actualize themselves within the USC and see themselves become like the coordinator or like a VP or even like the USC president, for example. And the way I want to do that is I don't want to increase it, but I guess I want to like introduce what I call town halls. And I want this to be like a universal town hall, and I want it to be traveling as well. So what it would look like would be USC executives, myself, and the VPs that are yet to be elected and hired. We're going to be going into cultural spaces, going to the AGMs, going to affiliate council meetings, going to we're going to take the USC and go to spaces instead of having students come to us, because I feel as if having that recognizability would be a lot easier for a lot of students in terms of relating to the USC on a deeper level. So that's just some of the things. I tried to keep it as short as I can because I will talk your ears off on my platform, but we'll go with that. Mhm.
Yeah, thank you for that. I want to say, like, the issues that you did talk about, or like the components of your foundation itself, your platform, I think it's really interesting to see like the different topics that you chose to bring in. I honestly don't think I've heard of other USC presidents, like from my time at Western here, really talk about them. So it does sound like you've listened to a lot of perspectives from different students, and you're actually like amplifying voices that otherwise would have like kind of been left unheard. So I think it's really, really interesting for you to incorporate those unique experiences into your platform. I'm actually kind of interested, like, in making your platform as well. Was there a lot of like how was there research behind it? Like, was there a lot of listening to students' experiences, or how was that like?
It was putting myself in these spaces. So the last 5 years, I've actively put myself in spaces where I feel as if students are going unrecognized. So whether it be going to all the cultural clubs that I can, all the events that they go through, like being involved in their executives, whether it be attending, not attending, whether it be participating in performing arts clubs, whether it be just the different spaces that I'm looking to uplift, I've lived. I've been a part of them, and that's how I know these students are going unrecognized or going unheard. And that's why I know it's not just a matter of me consulting with them, it's me knowing this is the actual reality, and then taking that voice and taking that issues that I've experienced, as well as so many of my friends and so many other clubs in student life that I've been a part of, taking that and knowing that these are things that have been perpetuated year after year after year. So it wasn't just much of a research-based thing that I did in a couple months before my election. It was something I've been experiencing for the last 5 years. So it's kind of touching on what you spoke on before, and how no USC president has ever spoken about the things experience as well, or the things that I'm uplifting as well. It's because I feel as if the way I approach this entire campaign is we're doing it from a completely different perspective. I've been a part of the USC, but I haven't been as in depth as some of the other candidates during the election. But it was just a whole different perspective, which is why I feel as if so many students were able to resonate and then build that community around the campaign, because it was so fresh, it was so new, and so many students were finally getting their voice heard, which was great to hear, and which was great to feel the community form around that. It was one of the best experiences of my life, I will say. So yeah.
No, that's again amazing. And I I like how your research actually involved you going to the places, going to speak to students and seeing, witnessing, because I think rather than just hearing what's going on, actually seeing it with your own eyes does make a big difference. And that brings back to a point you mentioned earlier about how what you want to do for next year is actually bring USC to these spaces. Because I do remember last year USC did say like, oh, like we'll get like the student body involved, like come to the meetings. But I heard, like, I was watching the debate, and I heard that's not been happening. And personally, I never know when these meetings are happening, so I wouldn't even know how to be there. So actually you going to these places, making a presence rather than just like acting like behind the scenes, I think will make a really big difference. And another point I want to also mention is I love how you're bringing in eating disorders into your campaign, because like personally, and even like with my friends, especially during exam season, your eating habits like go out of the roof. Like you're not
Yeah.
eating properly, you're just stressed, and then you don't even have the support for that when it comes to like like how can I help myself when it like comes to my diet, because especially with university our workload it's most of the times it's overlooked. So I really appreciate how you're bringing that as like a big point for your campaign, because I think it's a big issue with many students in Western in general.
It is. It's exactly what you mentioned. Like a lot of students don't even know the truth behind eating disorders. There are so many things. I don't know if you know, but intermittent fasting, have you ever heard of it?
Mhm.
No, I have not.
It's the type of fasting that a lot of student athletes do, or people who train. It's where they eat only like certain hours of the day. So say you pick 9 to 1, that you're only gonna eat during those times, and every other time you're not eating. Absolutely nothing. Probably just drinking water. And it's been marketed as like a great training for your body, like it's great, but it's actually an eating disorder. Very similar. And the thing is, it's like a lot of students don't know the age of onset is between 20 to 25, which directly correlates to all university students. You're either 18 or 24. I'm 24 myself. So the kind of age is like there. It's very average. And it can be linked towards stress. It could be linked towards work, academics. Everything about student life can be linked towards eating disorders. And it's so common within our mental health services. Only 20% of individuals with eating disorders ever receive treatment. Only 20%. And that's all students. So just really highlighting that and then working to advocate for that is really beneficial. And even if it could just be learning how to talk about eating disorders and how to talk to someone who's suffering from that. And that's why we want to increase that sensitivity training with Chloe Grande, because it can be a little bit of a taboo topic, but we want to make sure that everyone is supported in this cause and people are able to recognize within themselves how like their eating can affect everything about their life. Yeah. Mhm.
No, I really like how you mentioned how eating can affect everything in your life, because I remember taking a nutrition course in high school, and I still remember to this day my teacher said you are what you eat, which is so true. But yeah, no, thank you for that. And I guess like something I'm curious about is like, how do you feel about becoming our USC president? Is it like something you look forward to the most, out of everything you mentioned so far?
Oh, how do I feel about it? Well, in the first 2 weeks, it's been what, 3 weeks now since I've been elected, but in the first 2 weeks, it was still kind of surreal. Because it was like it's like a dream I've been having for the last 5 years. And then finally seeing it actualized, it's been a whirlwind of emotions. The campaign itself was the most stressful time of my entire life, the biggest project I've ever taken on. But just coming into the position, I feel hopeful and I feel ready to finally give voices to all of these students and increase the amount of community, increase student engagement, and just have a different Western community because we are coming out of the last 3 years. Everything's happening in person for the first time. And I really want to make sure we come back to the Western community that we've had before, but not only that, make it a lot better and just have a space where we can learn from some of the things that we've experienced during COVID, some of the adverse events that have happened, and just really have a population and a student experience that really highlights student safety, EDI, just all of these things, and create a community where we can all become together. And so coming into the position, I feel really happy, we feel really great, feel really stressed, I will say. It's a little busy, but want to know what? I'm definitely ready for it. I believe I totally forgot the second part of that question. I believe you asked me what I'm looking forward to most. Yes. Oh, goodness. What I am looking forward to most. What a question. Just pick it down to one thing.
Just one thing.
Just one thing. That is very difficult. I am looking forward to the moment a student comes to me and says, I want to run for president because you inspired me to do so. That's what I'm looking forward to most. That is the entire reason why I'm in this position, or that's the entire reason why I wanted to run. So when that happens, the day that happens, I'll be like, thank you. Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. I'm glad.
I love that actually, because okay, it just kind of brings up this whole quote that like when I heard this quote, I was like, yo, this is the cheesiest thing I've ever heard. But like now I actually see it. It's like that whole idea of like a true leader being someone who inspires others to lead. And I'm like, it's true though, right?
It
I think
is.
that's like a big component of someone who knows and how to lead. It's the fact that you're forging a path for other people to, I guess, to make their own path or to follow that one. I think that's wonderful, and I love how you narrowed it down to that one thing. I didn't even expect that. I was like, oh, it's gonna be something from your campaign, but I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. And you're entirely right, Ria. It's so cheesy and it's so corny at the same time, but it's so unbelievably true because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like I told everyone this during my campaign, I can advocate for something as strongly as I can, but if I don't have that lived experience, it falls short. Right.
Mhm.
So the onus said it would then be, what if I then inspired that individual who has that lived experience to then put themselves in a position much like this and then be like, I want to do this way, or we need to do this way. It's a whole different perspective as just saying, I'm gonna put EDI on my platform and hopefully I do it the best. But if I don't have that experience, it falls short. Or I'm gonna advocate for sexual and gender-based violence prevention. But if I don't actually have that lived experience, it's so much different. Right? So inspiring a leader within every single person, corny, but very true.
No.
Yeah.
Again, love that. Like, good answer. Like, it was amazing. And actually, I have a question. Is there anyone that inspired you, like, to become a UC president? Or is it just like,
Yes,
okay, yeah.
3 people actually. And I was waiting for this question because I love talking about them. So the first individual was my mom, obviously. I love my mom to death. She always supports everything I do. So when I told her I was running for this, I don't think she understood what it meant. She didn't have she's like, oh, that's cool. What are you gonna do? And I was like, what's a big deal? Like, and she didn't realize how big a deal it was until election night. And then I was like, Mom, look, everybody's here. Like, this is real, right? So my mom, biggest inspiration my entire life. The second individual is actually Toby Salebo. So he was the outgoing president when I was incoming. So he was a minority student. So he was the second Black president in all of Western history. I am the third, obviously. And he came from Huron. So he was an affiliate student like me, minority student like me, outside of the USC like me. And just seeing him in his position, I was like, I can do that too. Exactly what I want to do for someone else, he did for me. And I was talking to him before the election, and I was just telling him, I was like, yeah, I don't think you understand how much you inspired me to do this. This is probably all about you, but you're the one that inspired me. You're the one that pushed me. Just you see being there was so critical. Um, so I'm just he set me down this path and he really started to make me believe that. The second individual is Bardia Jalayer. So he was the president in 2019. And he was the one that actually gave me like the concrete vision of what being USC president was. So back then you were able to shadow USC executives, which is what I want to do next year. And so I signed up for a day and I shadowed Bardia the entire day. So I followed him through his meetings, sat in his office. He talked about the presidency. He talked about everything. And he really solidified the position and really made it human. Because you see USC president, you're just like, what do they do? What does he do on a daily basis? Like, is he just in meetings all day? Does he what does he do, right? But just seeing him in his position, it was just so concrete, and it just really, it was really a moment where I was like, I can do this, like I can literally do this. So those three individuals definitely inspired me to be here. So I thank them dearly.
That's wonderful having that. Just like it fits really perfectly, I want to say, because the first thing that you really talked about, like on today's episode, was like kind of inspiring others to do the same thing that you're going into. And then the fact that that actually happened for you as well, I think that's like a full circle type of moment. So
It
it's so
is.
cool to see that.
Mm,
And the fact that like having parental support, it's always like the biggest thing ever. At the end of the day, it's always just like your parents were there, were rooting for you. And it's funny how like your mom didn't really realize how big of the like how big of a deal this was at first. I think parents have like that tendency to be very humbling.
yes.
It's like, oh, I got this. And then they're always there to kind of like remind you where you're at. But
Yes.
I always think that's important too.
I agree. It was the funniest thing in the world. I told her by showing her the Gazette article that came out. And she's like, oh, the first thing she said, she's like, why are you wearing that color? And I was like, Mom. I was like, it's my color. And then I asked her to come to the election night. She's like, oh, I'm a little busy. I was like, Mom, come. Come. And then yeah, but yeah, definitely parents definitely are, they'll humble you no matter what, they'll definitely humble you. So
That's the whole thing. Yeah. And I guess I know we kind of already asked you to like pinpoint one thing that you looked forward to, but like we're gonna be asking you to narrow things down again. But if you were to describe your role as the USC president using like say 3 words, what would they be? So we're giving you more options here.
my role in 3 words. Okay, I want to make this detailed but overarching. Um, I would say, oh, this is difficult. Okay. 3 words describing my role, as in like myself or the position.
You can choose just to make it
I
easier.
could choose.
Yeah.
Okay. I think for myself, I'll do one for myself, one position, and one for both. So I think for myself, one role to describe me would be um I want to say I want to say like fresh. Fresh is the word I'm thinking, like just fresh, um, new perspectives, all of that just. In terms of the position, I would say um yeah, I'm gonna go with like uplifting. So we're uplifting these voices, uplifting these perspectives. And then for both, I would say, oh goodness. Mm, I'm gonna use like a hybrid, like culture changing. How's that? How's that
Yeah,
sound? Yeah?
uh,
Hmm.
new perspectives, cultural, uplifting. No, love it all. That's a great slogan phrase.
Thank you. Mhm.
And what do you think would be your favorite memory of Western so far?
Love talking about this. Okay, so 2021 Global Village orientation week, first time it ever happened. I don't know if you guys know about Global Village, but wonderful event. Um, and so the reason why it's my favorite memory is because I was able to host that event the first time it ever happened. And it was just a mix of all my favorite performers that I've had in the past. So Borderless was there. Indigenous performers were there as well, and just some of my friends who were singing. It was just it was a wonderful event, and just seeing the reaction of the first years, the softs, the faculty, and just how well it formed. It was the most rewarding experience I've ever felt in my life. And just being able to host that event. And at the end, I was able to give like a little like motivational speech because I'm a speaker, by the way. I'm a motivational speaker. So I was able to give like my little speech at the end, just inspiring students to get involved and just falling in love with campus. It was as a whole, as an event, it was the most rewarding experience. And it also felt like a full circle moment because I remember when my orientation week happened and me being the first year in that crowd and just seeing the presidents and the performers and just everyone on stage, it was like, wow, that's so awesome. And then to just do that 4 years later and then just be that person for someone else in the crowd, my favorite memory by far, favorite memory. Mhm.
Yeah, okay, that was the first year that I was sophing too. And I want to say that one event is literally what made me sign up to Soph again the next year. That's exactly what I wrote about in my application too. And now that you're talking about being a speaker at the event, like I remember that like last part, it stood out to me so much. So thanks for doing that, like I'm like one of the many students who I'm sure it stood out to. I think that was like it was mind blowing. Like the energy, I was just like, I think I lost my voice the next day.
I agree. And honestly, thank you. Thank you for telling me that because it makes me feel so happy. It's yeah, like you were there. It was so different. It was so different. I've never experienced something like that at Western. It was like really that moment where I was like, this is home, right? This is literally home. And so I'm so happy for all the first year students who were able to experience that coming into first year so they can then just take that and run with it for the rest of their time at Western. It's amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
we
exactly
should
what we want to be like.
experience that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then, okay, so this kind of feels like an interview at this point, but because we're asking you to be so creative about stuff. But if you were to write a letter to your past self from 10 years ago, what advice would you give yourself?
A letter to my past self. What advice would I give? Everything is temporary. Everything is temporary.
Ooh.
And what I mean when I say that is 10 years ago, and even a year ago, everything I felt, everything I was going through in the moment, if I was going through a bad situation at work, going through family troubles at home, going through a breakup, going through bad class, like everything I was going through that I felt was like the be all and end all of my life, temporary. We were able to get through it at some point. And just everything it's so funny. And it's so funny when you see something happen in your life and you're just like, oh, how am I going to get through this? I don't even know what to do. And it's so detrimental in that moment. But like a year down the line, you're like, what was I thinking? It's, it's like the easiest, like picture yourself in high school. Okay. Everything you're going through high school, it was like life or death, literal life or death. But the second you get to university, you're like, there's a whole nother life out there. Like, what is going on? What was I thinking back in high school? Like, and it's so, and that goes for everything, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a class, whether it be a workplace, whether it be any issue is all temporary. So I would just tell myself, Sunday, stop focusing on the one thing that's going on in your life right now and realize you're going to get through this no matter what, because every single human, no matter what they've gone through, has been able to get through 100% of their problems. You just being here today, you got through 100% of your problems. And that track record lets you know that whatever you go through in the future, you're going to get through it. So that would be my advice for myself in the past, because I was a little bit of an emotional man. So going through issues, it was really hard, really difficult. But now here we are. So I would tell myself to stop worrying so much. Mhm.
No, I 100% agree. And that's so encouraging, especially having a USC president tell you that. It's very, very encouraging. Yeah, no, same here. Like high school me, life or death, which university I choose, life or death decision. Like, oh, my marks, grade 12 marks. Oh, and then like, it's just, yeah, no, it's very easy to think like, oh, this is going to be like the end of the world. This is my last straw. But no, like you're so right. Like the fact that you're here today, the fact that you got off your bed today morning, it means that you faced your problem. You have overcome that problem. So that's absolutely amazing, inspiring.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
gotta say, yeah, I gotta get like that tattooed somewhere. If I have a midterm and I'm choosing between two questions, I just gotta look down and be like, yo, this is temporary. Like, don't stress it. For
See
everything.
me. I feel that. Oh my goodness. Everything. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah.
And I guess the last question before our segment is, do you have a presidential bucket list?
Yes, yes, I do. Okay. It's long, so I'll give you some. I'll give you like four. First thing I want to do, designate space for art students. I want to get all rehearsals outside of Social Side Tunnel, because I've been rehearsing for the last 4 years in Social Side Tunnel, and I think it's about time artistic students are given that space. So first thing on my list, I want to do that as well. I want to bring back Purple Fest. Obviously, I just want to like have a time where we can all like celebrate. Obviously, you're not going to get students like Western students to stop enjoying themselves, which is a hard thing to do. But I really just want to make sure it's like more safe, and do it in a safe that and do it in an event that encourages student safety and not allows them to like party on Brockdale, whatever. But that's two. I want to introduce Wilma. So I talked about Wilma a lot during my campaign. So Wilma is the ride sharing service that was launched in London last May, and the slogan is "Women Driving Women." And I met with Mary Morrison, and she's a wonderful, wonderful individual. She's a co-founder of that organization, and she's really looking to partner with universities, especially here in London, Western University, Fanshawe College, just having that so we can increase student safety and just make sure it's a space where we can just alleviate some of the ride-sharing problems that a lot of students have gone through. Introducing that as a partnership within the USC, I think would be phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And the last thing I want to do is I want to take EDI and change the way we see it. So the way I want to do that is like, I don't want EDI to just be a platform point that's put on every single presidential platform every single year. And just, I want to increase EDI, sir. I want to do all these. I don't want that. I want it to be something that's like flowing within every resource that we have here on campus, every event, every counselor, even just every facet of the USC that we have a hand in, especially the student experience. I want EDI to have some sort of recognition in that. And it doesn't just look like EDI in terms of cultural spaces. I want EDI to reach affiliate students as a whole. I want it to reach just every single population that you could think of that needs that equality, that diversity, that inclusion as well. I really want to bring that as well. Indigenous students, cultural students, affiliate students, even students that have been ostracized, like these different groups, like these different populations that are like Western affiliated but aren't like given like that same sort of access to resources or same sort of like ability to book spaces, just all of these things. I really want to like do that. So these bucket list things I have, I want to do that. There's one more thing I wanted to do that is slipping my mind here, and I wanted to do it. Oh, I'm forgetting.
It's okay.
It,
Maybe
it comes
maybe
back to
remember it and you can like say it like when anytime for the remainder of the podcast. If you remember it, just say it out loud. But I have a question actually about the Wilma. I know that was a big part of
yeah.
your campaign too. Is it like an Uber driving you wherever you need to go? Like I'm just confused. Like what is the main focus of Wilma?
Yeah, sort of. So it's kind of like an Uber service. That's the easiest way to think about it. So the way it works is currently it's a subscription-based service. So what you do is you'll pay like a monthly fee, which we're trying to change when we bring it to the USC actually. So it's kind of like Uber. What you'll do is like you'll go into the app, you'll request a ride. Say you need to go from your campus to home, something like that. Um, you'll request that ride, and you'll be able to see like a list of individuals who are able to like pick you up, and so they'll be all women. And so you have a choice to then be like, if you want to bring, say, a friend with you, you can then put that into the app, and then they'll know that. But the entirety of the service is that Uber service, but it's only women drivers. So a lot of my friends have had like those experiences where like they get into an Uber and I don't like targeting this to one gender or one population. Like I don't like doing that, but a majority of the situations do occur when it is a male driver and a female passenger. So sorry, like the entirety of the services Mary just wants to give that assurance to, say, a group of women who are trying to get home from the bar and don't have to worry about that. Like that's the entirety of the service. So I really want to bring that to Western and really help a lot of students in that cause.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that clears a lot of things up, and that's amazing too. And is this just on campus or like anywhere, like in London?
So it's all in London. It's all in
Oh,
London. But I want to bring it to campus where it's either a free service for students or incredibly subsidized. So what it does, it alleviates the pressure from paying for Ubers because those surcharges are high. And so it'll help affordability in ride sharing, increases like accessibility to transportation, like all of these things. There's so many benefits to Wilma. So just bringing that to campus and letting students have this service free of charge, hopefully, would be very beneficial.
no, and I agree with that statement. Like, I don't think I've ever had an Uber driver that is a female. All my Uber drivers have been male, so I think that'd be like a great change for that. So yeah, no, I'm very interested how that goes next year. And yeah, back to your other point about EDI. I'm a Don this year, and I remember EDI was such a big thing in during our training. And I think Ria, for you, when you were becoming a soph, like EDI was a big part of our training during the 2 weeks before O week. And I was thinking like during my training, I was like, yeah, no, this why am I only hearing this now when I'm like becoming a Don? Like I feel like I should have heard it beforehand. So I like bringing that knowledge, but also like having a different perspective on it, not just like oh, a module you have to do, like a course you have to do is I think can make a big difference on how we see EDI and how we can use that in our like our daily lives and like have like like a self or subconscious of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. It goes so much more than just having that owl module or just having your professor talk about in a lesson. It just goes so much deeper. And these are things that I've learned within my program. So I'm doing honors in social justice and then I'm majoring in sociology. So just everything we talk about has to do with realms of EDI and how we just have it and how we change the perspective of it. So it's not just something that you check off a list to be like, oh, inclusivity, we got it. Like it's so much more different than that. So yeah.
I think that's really critical because I think a lot of the time, I gotta admit it, like EDI, they're kind of used as buzzwords at this point, I think sometimes. So having actual like tangible steps to see how to implement them, like at the USC or Western as a whole, I think that's really important to bring in. Because a lot of the times people will just throw up the word and be like, oh, EDI, we have it on the side, but actually having it in action is really important. And then I just want to bring up one more point from your bucket list, which I thought was really interesting actually.
Definitely.
The one of having like a space on campus for like artists to practice and rehearse. I think like it's been overlooked for so long because I've been like doing a few things throughout that tunnel as well for like art stuff from like first year. And sometimes it can be so frustrating when there's like someone down the hall, they're blasting their music, and like you forget your speakers one day, and you're
Yeah.
like all gathered and huddled around this one phone. Um, I think it's really important to value art that way and show that, Western has a space for you guys to express yourself. So I
It
love that. Yeah.
You're so right. It's that tunnel is just becomes mayhem. You have like 3 or 4 groups going. And the funny thing is, it's so interesting to see how long this has gone on, given how many students are involved in this. Like UWO Dance Force is the second biggest club on campus. And there are so many artistic students. We have competitive dance teams, like really, really strong dance teams. And even if it's and I'm not just focusing on dance teams, like artists, musicians, like all of the just having that creative common space would be so beneficial for so many people. So yeah, one of my biggest things. One of my biggest things. I just wanna give them the recognition that they deserve, give them the space that they need, and just help these students in that regard because that's all they ask for. They only ask for one thing. We just want space. We have space to give, so we're gonna give them that space. Well, I'm going to give them that space. Mhm.
I absolutely love that. And I'm looking forward to it if I'm at Western next year. Yeah, I really hope I am.
Gonna happen? Are you not coming, or is it just like you're
I'm,
switching?
I'm in fourth year now, so it's like I'm gonna be applying for my master's and I gotta figure that stuff out. So we'll see.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that.
Oh, yeah, and now we're getting into a bit more of like the fun part of things. We're still gonna be grilling you about stuff, but it'll be it'll be a bit different now. So we're
Yeah.
gonna move on to our Purple and Proud trivia. So it's gonna be focusing on questions about Western. Don't worry, it's not like some next historical fact thing. We're not boring like that. So the first question is, how many geese do you think would fill up the Mustang Lounge?
Oh my gosh. Um, I'm gonna say, and it's gonna sound low, but I'm gonna explain it why it makes sense. I'm gonna say like 100, but because I'm saying that they leave a lot of waste behind. It's going to concentrate in a certain spot. I know it. So they're just gonna it's just gonna go in that spot, and that's gonna take up a good couple square centimeters there. So it's like and yeah, so I'm gonna say 100. 100. That's what I'm going with.
I think seeing 100 geese in the Mustang Lounge will be my worst nightmare. Just because of that.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
no, that would be the end all. That'd be the end of everything. They own that space now. We like that's them.
Like
Garden
certain
City
cities.
Hill, now Mustang Lounge.
Yeah.
No, imagine. Okay, next question. As of 2023, so currently, how many first year residents does Western have? And if you want, you can try to name them.
Oh, okay. Um, First year residences. Okay. Delaware. I'm gonna count them in my head. Delaware, Elgin, Medsid, Perth, London Hall, Hall. Um, Jesus, what have I not said?
Think
I'm
of
at
the
six.
north side.
North Side. Saugeen.
There.
Mm, how did I forget Saugeen? What? um, Bayfield. Um, Alumni is not first year. Am I missing one? What am I? I'm at 8.
Did you say Lambton? I don't think so, right?
I did not say Lambton. I did not. You got me there.
Did you say Essex?
I did not say.
It's like with London, so it's like it's kind of
Okay.
hard to remember that one.
No, that was
Okay.
fine.
Slide.
Really good try.
Okay. I didn't get it out. I forgot Essex. Wow. I literally can't remain in Essex. What's wrong with me? If
No, no, it's okay.
Essex is listening to this, please forgive me. I'm sorry.
That was a tricky one, honestly. But you nailed like most of them down, like the major ones.
Mm.
Yeah, I think honestly, if someone asked me that, I would have been like Ohal and then Sagin, and that's just about it. The two that stand out the most.
The biggest one.
Side. Yeah, you nailed each side. You got like Delhi, you got MedSid, you got Elgin, you got alumni. I'm like, okay, yeah, you nailed each side.
Oh my gosh. It's yeah, I always forget. I always forget some, like one or two. I've been asked that question quite a few times actually. So yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and then okay, so the next one is about okay, honestly, I wouldn't even know this, but it's okay. We're gonna see if you do. Which of the following don't currently exist on the spokes menu? So I'm gonna
Um,
give you a few
oh,
options here, okay? All
okay.
right. So the first one is a mushroom Swiss bagel. The second one is an iced caramel gosh, I can't talk macchiato. Oh my God. The third one is a chipotle chicken wrap. And then the fourth one is a chicken lettuce tomato or CLT wrap. And then the last one is purple leaf iced tea.
What?
I know. We could like,
I'm gonna say number four,
Which is the
the chicken lettuce tomato. I've never heard of that.
correct. No, amazing.
Yes.
that's amazing. Damn.
I've never heard of that. So okay. Glad I got that. Wow.
Yeah,
Successful. What? My heart was beating. I was like, I know this.
no, you and we learned about the chicken lettuce tomato wrap in our first episode together. We were interviewing a prof who was at Western for like quite a while, and going on a full rant about how there was no CLT wrap anymore in the spoke menu. We're like, whoa, what is that? And it was something we learned. Like, okay, let's see if Sunday knows about this.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I mean, hey, we could see if we can bring that back. If that professor is still around and they want to see it, it's fully possible. Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. What else you got for me? I love these questions. These are so fun.
okay, yeah. Next question. Going up UC Hill can be a trek. So,
Yes.
how steep do you think UC Hill is?
How
Like,
steep?
yeah, like, let's say what's the angle?
Degrees?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm going to learn this after I answer those questions. I know I'm gonna get it wrong, but I'm gonna get some sort of like math student to figure that out for me. I want to say 35 degrees. 35 degrees. Like, wait, because 45 is this.
Yeah.
This is this is pretty steep. It's not that steep. And
It's
like it's a little 35. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, to be honest, we didn't know the answer to this question
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Someone please figure this out in the comment so I can correct myself.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that to you to
Yeah.
figure
Mhm.
Which hill were you thinking of? Is it the one like right in front of UC College or is the one right beside it? Like the one they just renovated in front of the international.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
Is
okay.
that what we're talking about?
I think
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I'm gonna like see Sunday walking out with like a protractor tomorrow. And I'll be like,
You like formulating the this dad just getting everything done. Like, yeah, that's so funny. I would ask one of the contractors. They have to know that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna walk down and be like, hey, what's this incline right now? Just let me know. So funny.
All right. So for our next question, we're going back to the geese. So should geese replace Mustangs at what as Western's official mascot?
You would think it makes sense. You would think with how often, like with just how populated they are and how concentrated they are on our campus. Although it's a very ugly mascot. Could you imagine just the Western geese? It doesn't even sound right. Like, imagine being like the football team.
Oh my God.
And then it's the Western Geese versus like Waterloo. It just doesn't sound right. But I would say in terms of aesthetics, just because they're so concentrated, yes. Everything else, complete like no. We cannot be the Western Geese. I would drop out.
Honestly, my elementary school, their mascot was geese. And like they had a whole ass like song for it too. It was like follow the wild geese over the hill. So like I could, and that's basically what this question is based off of. I was like, yo, we're bringing this back.
Because like there are certain animals that are mascot worthy. You know, it makes sense. Like this animal can be a mascot. A geese cannot be a mascot. I'm sorry. This is no.
And I just imagining someone with a geese costume walking around campus and like UCC, that would frighten me. I wouldn't want to go and take a picture of it. Like I love going in front of like JC and taking a picture, but like the geese, nah.
Yeah, not it. I was gonna say, yeah. I can't imagine.
And now for the presidential scoop. So purple edition. First question. How do you organize your apps on your phone?
Okay. Can I show you?
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know, it's like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So this is okay. Well, this is one. This is how I used to do it. This is my old. So I bought a new phone. And this is how I do it now. So it's literally it's just that. It's not anything crazy. Just that. Yeah, everything I use mainly just there, and then everything else like side stuff just here. But yeah, I kind of just like I don't think there really is like that organized like just whatever I use the most front page, and that's it. That's so boring. I gotta find a way to make it aesthetically pleasing.
No,
Mm.
efficient. That's what we like. Efficiency, that's what matters.
I want to open my phone and just get it done, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I actually think it is pretty aesthetically pleasing right now already, as opposed to having like a million folders and then having to like click your phone 3 times. I swear, like it's a maze when you open up my home screen. So I like the way
I
that you do it.
folders and everything, it just irks me. I don't know why. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Mhm.
It's like there's 2 types of people.
But those people don't have like the super aesthetic one where everything's like color coordinated. Like they change like the bookmark imitation. Like everything's just so cool. And I'm like, that takes effort. That takes
Yeah, exactly.
like I would love to do it, but like don't have the time. Yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
Mhm.
So speaking of your phone, what's your most used emoji? That one.
Okay. For the longest time, as in like the last 2 months, it's been that blue heart, obviously. Um,
True.
just because I've been using it a lot. Let me go see what else I have here. Um, okay, so I'm just gonna show you what cover. Oh, this is mine in your text, Milan. So this is okay. But these are my most used. You can ask about them and I can explain them if you want.
I love this emoji. I use it all the time. Like,
Oh my God, me too.
It's funny. I don't know why. This one, the crying face. No, not that one. This one I use abusively all the time.
Yeah, I
Uh,
feel that.
I
this
have
one as well.
what's with
I'd
the
be using the knife.
yeah?
I don't know. I I have no idea why I use that. I couldn't explain that to you. I don't know why
We
that's there.
stumped
It
our
just
USC president. There we go. That was the whole goal of this episode.
candles are out. That's so funny. I have no. What did I use that for? I'm gonna have to go through all my texts to find out what I use it. I literally have no idea.
Oh
These
my
questions
God,
are so fun. I love this.
that's hilarious.
Okay, next question. You're at the Spoke and it's karaoke night. Which song do you pick?
Sunday best. I'm biased.
There we
Sorry.
go. Right
Too
off
easy.
the bat.
Too easy.
It's like, why did we even bother to ask?
Like you guys should have known by now. That's the thing is with that song. It's like I didn't know it existed till like last year. So like I've been a camp counselor for the last like 9 years of my life. And then obviously whenever I tell my kids, or the kids, not my kids, but my kids, not my kids. Whenever I tell my kids that my name is Sunday, A, they don't believe me, so I have to show them my license every single time. Um, and then B, they make every joke I've heard under the sun about my name. So one of the kids was like, "Have you heard the song Sunday Best?" And I was like, no. They showed me, and I was like, wait, I love this song. So now it's my favorite song, and obviously my campaign song, everything, XYZ. Yeah, Sunday Best. Mhm.
Wait, it's your campaign song too. How did I miss that? What?
Yeah, it was my campaign. It was a song they played when they announced that I won and everything. It was just, yeah,
That's awesome. Oh wow,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
That fits perfectly. And then
Mhm.
I guess just wrapping things up, the last question is, do you have a favorite quote?
Favorite quote. Yes, I do. It's a little bit of a long one. It's a little bit of a longer one, but it's by a man named Les Brown. I don't know if you heard of him. He is one of the one of the best motivational speakers ever. Actually, no, that's a long one. That's my second favorite one. My favorite one is by Eric Thomas. He is the best motivational speaker ever, and it's three things. It's I can, I will, and I must. So it's everything. So the reason why he says that is that every part of your life, no matter what it is, falls under these three categories. So it's like you even come to university. Well, I can go to university. Or you finish in university. I must finish university, you know? Or even just motivating yourself is like, I will finish university. Like everything that you do in your life falls under these three categories. Like no matter what your motivation is. So like always falling back to that that quote for me was really strong throughout the entire campaign. I'm definitely gonna lean on it towards the entirety of my presidency because it's gonna be difficult times, but those three things were the one thing that got me through a lot. So I can, I will, and I must.
No, I love that. And I think yeah, no, it makes sense too. It's just like it's very encouraging. Like in my even in my exam room, like I will do this exam, I must do my exam, I will do this exam. So no, it makes 100% sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that actually. I literally was like writing it down at the same time. So I was like, I gotta keep this up.
It's so simple and it's so yeah. I love it.
Okay, and I think this actually wraps up our episode. So thank you so much, Sunday. I had so much fun talking with you, just getting to know what next year might look like for me, and maybe even hopefully for you too, Ria. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I really hope presidency goes well for you next year. And thank you just so much for coming on today's episode.
No, thank you guys. I This was one of the more fun interviews, so I'm so happy we were able to have this time because I just love getting to talk to people, and that's the entirety of what I love to do. So thank you guys for reaching out to me. And to whoever's listening, thank you guys for listening as well. I'm really glad. I'm really glad.
Mhm. And if you guys have any questions or any comments, just we're going to be on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, and you can always chat with us and stay tuned for our next episode next week. So thank you again, Sunday, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your day.